All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I in my video here. Reminder that if you can, when I'm not working with you, it's helpful if you can, oh boy, you're on the right page, Tamir. We're gonna go first with reading a sign. So if you wanna grab that, great. Yeah. But if I am not working with your dog, coaching them in that moment, it's helpful if you're able to mute your audio, just so it doesn't muddle, you know, my work with another dog during the clicking timing and such. Okay, so we're gonna start with our read a sign. So I would first like to point out, as I did last week, that actually I think it does work best if you can. So last week mine was pretty floppy. I hadn't done it on just notebook paper before. So I think it's helpful if you can put it onto cardboard, which I did this time. Even if you don't have a sheet of cardboard that's the right size, I took 2 pieces of scrap cardboard from my recycling that were about the right size put together, and I just taped them on the back. So it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just looking for it to be, you know, when I put it behind my back and then I present it, it's stiff and it's not flopping around so that it's not readable the same, or readable. It's not visible the same way to our dogs each time. We want it to be visible that same way each time we present it. So having something sturdy is really helpful. You could also use cardstock in the future if you wanted something a little more sturdy by itself. Okay, so I'm going to just re-demo to remind everybody what we want to do. My dog actually hasn't quite adjusted to having the sign be stiff and not floppy. So he's looking a little more like a beginner here. Okay, so what we want to do is, I have the sign behind my back. I'm going to back up so you can see me a little better. I have the sign behind my back. I chose down because my dog tends to sit automatically. What I'm going to do is present the sign and then give a down cue. And click and treat. And I put it back behind my back. So I'm leaving that sign sort of in place as I do the down cue and give the treat, and then I take it away. So I'm going to tell him to stand again. And I'm going to present the sign, ask for a down, click, and treat. Okay? So if my dog, let's say that I had, I'll give him a down cue at the same time, but if I had presented it and he gave a down but I hadn't done my hand cue, then I would click and I would give him one treat, then another, just so that he understood that going down with the extra hand cue was good. But going down when he just saw the sign, which is what we're looking for, is extra great. It's going to pay off really well, so he wants to do it before I get that down hand signal in, or that down verbal cue. Okay, so I'm going to have you all practice with your dogs. Try to do this for at least, let's say, 6 repetitions right now. And add another 4 if we aren't done with all of the coaching by the time you finish 6. Okay, so I'm going to go over and I'm going to watch Tamir first today. So good. I heard some great praise right as I tuned into your video.
Good.
Hey. And Tamir, that's fantastic. You don't, if you're usually using a verbal cue or usually using a clicker, I sometimes try to avoid saying just praise words or a marker word at the same time that I click, just because it's a more muddled sound than just your reward, just your marker word, or just the clicker. Okay. So if I'm gonna say good boy or anything, you can use praise as part of your reward along with the treat. But I would first, Merlin sits, I click, then good boy as I give him a treat.
All right.
Very good. Great. So he's doing fantastic. Nice work. The next thing you would want to do for the future would be to make a different sign. I may ask Sharon later to show you the different signs. Making them look very different can be helpful. So I know Sharon wrote one in print very large and one in cursive large. So that's what you do. Yeah. If you want to add a different word so that they're discriminating between 2 signs, we would train it the same way, but you want to make everything look different. So that's why we wanted this to be very clear. Yeah, so sit looks like a very clear shape. And if your words are spaced far apart enough like that and bold like that, you could probably be fine with having just print for all of those things and not worrying too much about making sit and down look different, because as you can see, down looks a lot different from sit, even when it's in bold print and spaced far apart. I think they have a harder time whenever it's written smaller or spaced too closely together. The shapes can be more difficult to tell apart.
Okay.
Because obviously they don't know, what's a letter like we do. All right, so I'm going to have you keep practicing with Merlin.
Turn out the mute.
And I'm going to switch over and watch Katie and Grayson. Okay. All right.
So this is one we did not practice all week because I kind of forgot
It
about
happens. That's
And
okay.
then he's being stubborn or just not remembering.
Sure, that's all right.
Find it.
He's probably just not remembering. He didn't practice enough times to have it burned in his brain yet. And next time I would wait, yeah, exactly, until he looks and then present it.
Down. Yeah.
Very good. And one issue we might face with down, Katie, is that it will be more difficult for him to learn if he's half of the time starting in a stand and half of the time starting in a sit.
Okay.
So I picked down because my dog tends to very quickly go into a sit whenever he's in front of me. So down was going to come from the same initial starting position most times. So if you're going to go from like a stand, I would try to catch him for now in a consistent position. So either wait if he tends to sit in front of you, wait for him to sit, or if he tends to be standing in front of you, present it before he gets the chance to sit most of the time for now. Then we can practice with different starting positions later. Okay. Let's see when he comes back.
Jason. Down. Seriously? He's just standing. I know you can't see him because he's put himself against the chair, but.
Oh, yeah, no, that's okay. But I do love that you didn't repeat that verbal cue and just tried to use a hand cue again.
Down. Yeah.
There we go, good. So since he had such a hard time, Katie, I'm going to have you practice. Have you worked on down from a stand much at all?
That's how he was always doing it because his defense is always the lay down. So he was always kind of standing to begin with and then doing it.
Right. Maybe his brain's kind of somewhere else today, but we want to work with the dog we have in front of us in that moment. So I'm going to have you pause with the sign for a moment and practice down from a stand. So do you need to see how to lure that from a stand?
Sure.
Okay, great. Okay, so I gotta get my dog standing first. Yeah, there we go. Here we go. All right, so from a stand, I'm gonna take first I'm gonna set my computer screen a little better for you. I have my treat right in front of his nose, and I'm going to put it down between his paws and either slide forwards for some dogs or for Hitch, sliding backwards on the floor works best. So you couldn't quite see his butt, but when his butt hit the ground, that's when I clicked. So I'm gonna let you see a little bit further away. So I take a treat, I stick it in front of his mouth, and then I move it down in between his paws and then slide it backwards on the floor. And I clicked a little bit early there because it looked like he was done, but I click when he finally settles into his back legs being relaxed, right? Okay, so give that a shot.
Down. Yeah. Oh, God.
Oops, and I would wait a little bit more. He was doing a good bow there.
Right?
Wait a little bit more for his haunches to relax more.
Down.
Scoot it backwards on the floor.
Yeah. Now he keeps just moving out of
Oh, it's okay.
the camera. No,
Hi, Grayson.
not everybody wants to do that close. Contrary to your popular opinion. Down.
And then slide it backwards on the floor slowly.
Which way are you going, Henry?
Okay.
Down. Okay.
So if we haven't worked on this specifically with him, which you said you have at times.
I have, but like I just normally do like the face and down, like that, and
Yeah.
generally
So
he
try
won't.
taking away the verbal cue actually, and just giving that hand cue really quick. Excuse me.
Mason.
Oop.
What is wrong with you, Stick? Mason, sit. No.
Oh.
Sit. Down.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Boy. Okay.
So Katie, I'm going to have you work on for the down. So dogs tend to understand these positional changes as a movement, not just as the position. So he seems to be doing better with a sit from a down position instead of a stand.
Okay.
So what I would do is to either start with doing a sit sign for him for a little bit, because he can do that from a stand.
Okay.
Or if he tends to come when you're standing, if he tends to sit in front of you, if he has a good automatic sit, you can wait for the sit before presenting your down sign.
Okay.
Because it seems like he's not quite getting the idea, at least today, of going into that down position from a stand. But he seems to know a little bit better from a sit.
Okay.
I'm sure if you, in sessions with Sharon, you can also work more on just getting a sit from a stand, or down from a stand, excuse me. Okay. All right. So I'm going to have us move on now. But actually, Sharon, now that you're back, would you mind showing your how you tried to make them look different for people who are making multiple signs?
Okay. Whoops, excuse me. Come over here. I'm just trying to get him out of the, there we go. So here's my sit sign. Oh, he's chewing on my finger. That's the sit. And I made them different colors. And this is the down.
Great.
And then I was also experimenting with a touch one, which we haven't used, but you can see I made it like yellow.
Nice.
So I tried to make them all look as different as I could.
Yeah. If you all have a lot of fun with doing the reading a sign activities, I've also seen a fun iteration of this where people take a photo of their dog doing a specific activity, and then they teach them that photo means to do that behavior, the same as we do with the sign. So you can use this training technique, even if you wanted to move to something like photographs of your dog doing a sit, and then they mimic that thing, then you can train it in the exact same way. Okay, so thank you very much, Sharon, for the show and tell. All right, so next we are going to work on our spin. So we didn't work on this last week, but I just want to revisit it because it is something you can use for your tricks title. So for spin, just a review, what we want to do is, I've got my dog, I'm going to push the chair in so we got a little more room, but I want to take a treat. You probably want to start with your dog standing. If they have a stand cue, you can ask for the stand, so Hitch has a stand cue, or you can say, find it, and toss a treat on the ground to get them standing. So again, what I want to do here is I'm going to take a treat and I'm going to lure them into a circle like that. I try to stick with one direction at first and only move on to another direction once they've mastered that first direction. So with Hitch, we're working counterclockwise. Once you've done it several times with a treat, then you do there's no treat, and we're just using a fake treat hand, and then clicking and treating. So just with all of our other behaviors, we want to wait until they are able to consistently perform that action without a treat lure to add that cue in, okay? So I'm gonna stick with my order right now and go and watch Tamir and Merlin first. I'll get around to everybody. Great. Beautiful. And Tamir, could you unmute your audio?
Sorry.
Great. Okay, that's okay. Zoom is a learning experience for all. Good.
Good.
Very good. So this next time, Tamir, I want you to not grab a treat. So you stuck your hand in your treat pouch, but come out without a treat, but make the same treat-shaped hand and movement. And click, and then grab one. And give it to him, yes. So we want to switch that. Basically what we're doing is switching it from, there's a treat in your hand like a magnet, to being a sort of a reminder, like a hand cue, like we would have a verbal cue, like sign language cue for our dogs. And then always give a treat afterwards anyway. And then click and treat. Very good.
Should I do the other side now?
So what was that?
Should I do the other side now?
So I would like to add a verbal cue to this first. So what I would have you do is he's done.
Turn.
Oh, great. Okay. Yes. Once he is able to do that with just a hand cue with no treat magnet, then you can start to work on the other side. Usually it is less confusing to our dogs if we label it as a different thing. Instead of calling it turn,
I do.
we would call it spin or circle.
Right.
Good. So you can absolutely work on teaching the other spin.
Turn left. Good. You did it.
Yeah, hooray. So I would just keep practicing those a little bit while I work with Katie. Good. And Tamir, while I'm working with Katie and Grayson, the next thing that you can do is to, instead of holding the treat, like this is my dog's face, instead of holding the treat right in front of his nose, hold your treat hand a little further away, like your hand, so that we're fading it, so that you can eventually just do like a circle above him, right? We just want to slowly change it to being further from his face.
Okay. So I'm unmuted. I'm
okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Katie and Grayson, hello. Back with you. Now, how is spin going?
Spin is going good. It doesn't look like it's going good right now because I am trying to like get higher so I'm not bent over.
Yeah.
Let's see if
So I would just move very slowly. But
Turn left.
good.
But I'm trying to do it so I'm not hunched over. Like
that's okay. My one little note here, I think you clicked after you fed the treat. And we want to always click before we feed the treat. Oh, I think it might have been.
Okay, I don't click.
Hang on. Yes, yeah, that's correct. There was an accidental audio didn't get muted, and a click came right after you, treated. So let's see that one more time.
Spin. Yeah.
Good. Beautiful. So next I want you to try and do it without a treat in your hand at first. So instead of having a treat there, you're going to have no treat, but make the same hand shape. Try making another sound. Kissy noise, snap your fingers, pat your legs.
Yeah. Oh, he hadn't found the treat, that was why.
Oh, I see, yeah. Very good. And then, yes, and then treat. Perfect. Now, I want you to do that 3 more times with him without a treat in your hand.
Oh, yeah, we usually don't do the treats.
Oh, okay.
I think I just grabbed it from the floor. And
Sure, yes, of course, yeah.
Spin. Yeah.
Good. Now, my last note to you right now, Katie, is going to be that I would start to switch from this hand. You might want to switch to having a pointer finger as well. Instead of just moving away, you may want to switch to having a pointer finger instead of this as your cue. Very good. It's kind of funny that he's going into a down. If you start in a stand, he's probably less likely to fall into that down once he finishes.
When
You're doing a great job.
Down into the down when he's finished, when he's like, I'm bored with this.
Yeah, totally.
So
Yeah.
when we were working with her, he was doing
Yeah. In his future, we can teach him a stand behavior. All right.
Come on.
Good. Move a little slower.
Come on.
Oh, yeah, I think he's getting a little tired. So we can give him a little break. But he's doing well.
Not fine.
Very good, good. I would give him a treat here and let him have a little break since he was having trouble and then had a successful moment. I like to end on a good note. All right, I'm just gonna check in with Sharon. Hi, Sharon. How are we doing with Kismet? I don't know if you want to do show and tell.
Okay, it's funny because in the past he's gotten this really fast, and today he was like not that into it. So, but I just upped the value of my treats, and now he's more into it. So.
Yeah, great. Well,
I didn't have a fear.
Well, glad he's usually doing well.
Yes.
So the next thing, do you want to show off his spin, or is he
Sure.
done for now?
Do you want to do a spin? Touch. Okay, I'm just getting him in position. We've got the cheese loaded up, so we should be good.
Very good.
Slow, kind of lackluster-y sort of spin.
Yeah, he did it.
Yay!
Yeah. But like I said with Katie, if they seem like they're like, this is fine, I guess. I usually try to catch a good one. I know you know this as well, but I usually try to catch a good one and then say, okay, great, we're done. I want my dog to end training thinking this was really fun and I want to do it more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's had a lot of exercise and training already today, so I think he was just really chilled out. When we first started, he was just rolling on the floor on his back.
He's just ready to go, in case any of you want to see. He was just doing a chin target on my whole time, like, can we do more, please? So he's thoroughly excited about demoing for all of you. Some more. Okay, so on that note, our next thing that we are going to work on today is to get in a box. Has everyone gotten to work on this? This week? Sound? Okay. And Tamir, oh, great. Okay. Tamir, have you gotten to work on this? I lost your video for a minute.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. All right. So, and I see you have some soft stuff inside of your box, which can be a great option for dogs who are sensitive to surfaces. So I'm going to pull out my dog's box for him. He is already excited. And I'm just going to show you one more time how we might want to work on this. So we've got our box here. Oh, it's a little tall for him. He's already offering it, so I'm going to let him do that. But some of you have the issue of the back legs being stuck out. That's not uncommon. What I would do is use either a treat or I was using a little wiggly finger here to treat him. And if I didn't want him to be sitting in the box, I would have tried to treat a little sooner. The next thing we're working on is to sit in the box. So he's sort of decided that's what he should do right now. Is anyone else having that problem where your dog decides to sit in the box if you want them to just learn how to stand in it? If you're having the problem, nobody's having the problem? No? Okay.
No, I'm not, but I never know next time what he's going to do. What you were showing here, was this the suitcase thing? Because
yes, you can use a suitcase as well. Some people like to I don't have any suitcases that have like a very flat bottom. They all have sort of bars in them, and so I think that would be a more difficult step for my own dog. If you have a suitcase with a flat bottom, or your dog isn't really nervous about different surfaces, that should also be fine. Some people like to cue this with something cute like, pack up or time to go, and then have their dog get into a suitcase. You can be as creative as you want with your cues. Even if I'm saying, get in, you could say, let's go, or get in the box, whatever you want, and your dog can do that same thing. It's all about what phrases we're teaching them to learn as that behavior. So I'm going to have us practice with this. If your dog has been doing really well, you can start with a fake treat hand. If your dog has had some trouble, I would start with a treat in your hand like you've done when you were first teaching it, okay? So like magnet to the nose and guide them into that box. Okay, so.
Did you see me do it? Or
I did not. I'm about to switch over. I was just letting people know what to do in general. So Tamir, I am now watching your thing. I'm just picking out my box. Okay. Good. Okay. So I couldn't quite see Merlin there. Are you clicking or using you just have to tilt your screen down a little bit here. Great.
Can you see now?
Yes, that should be fine. Yeah.
Merlin, come here, boy.
Oh.
No, this way.
Could you push the suitcase a little towards the bookshelf, maybe?
Oh, okay. Well, he's already in, so.
Okay. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. All right.
I think I can tell.
Now do it one more time.
Oh, yeah, do it one more time. Yeah, you can see better when he's getting in it now.
Okay, run and come.
Uh-oh, that's okay. Does he regularly, and since he is having trouble, I am going to have you tilt the screen down just a little bit more here.
More.
Just a tiny bit.
Better?
Great, yes. Yeah.
Okay, Marlon, where
a
are
lot
you?
better now.
Oh my God! Oh, come back here. Come back. He's like to be an escape artist. Here, come here. No. Okay, this way. Come on, boy.
There we go.
Run and come.
Good. Click and treat. So I want to click as soon as that last back leg enters.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah, but you're doing good. Yeah, I would just experiment very slowly with moving your treat hand if he has one paw missing. Oh. And hold it a little. Yeah, if he's stepping over it, it's tough because it's a pretty small space compared to where he is. So if he's stepping over it, I'm going to demonstrate what I would do. And everyone else, while you're working, if your dog needs a little break, if they're seeing you get, burnt out, give them a little break before I get over to you here. But Samir, when I end up with my dog going where one paw is out of the box, which I'm going to try to get my own dog to do. Oh, yeah, so he put two paws out of the box, but good. What I did here, I'll do it one more time to show you, but what I did here was I moved the treat back along the side of his body so that he wanted to back up to grab it. So I'm going to get my dog back in. Yeah, you're so close, buddy. Okay, and then he got one paw out. We'll try to get him to do it again. He has one paw out, now two. And I took my treat and I moved it along the side of his body.
Got it.
To get him to move his paws back in. Good. So I'm being pretty creative about how I need to move that hand.
Yes.
To get them to get where I want them to. But sliding along the side of their body can help them put that one paw back in the box. Okay, so let's see it one more time. Very good. Click and treat. Good. Okay. And this is a tough one, especially for a large dog when, it's hard to find something that's much larger than their body when they stand. But I would keep playing with that. And if he's still having trouble getting in with all four paws, I would just move nice and slow with it. Uh-oh.
He lost his balance.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's all right. So
yeah, the bars in there are not comfortable.
Yeah, and since he had surgery recently, I'm going to have you give him a little bit of a break on this one. If he's losing his balance, I just want to make sure it's not because he's hurting himself. But give him a tiny bit of a break, and then you can practice just very slowly seeing which ways you can move the treat to get different paws to move into the box.
Do you think I should put cardboard on the bottom there so it's not so, the bars?
Is it a slippery feeling?
Huh?
Is it slippery?
No, it's not slippery, but the bars are there.
Oh, yes. So some cardboard would be a good idea. Yeah. So if you have bars on the bottom of your suitcase, you may want to put either some cardboard or even just fold up a blanket or towel to put in the bottom. Yeah. So it pads it. Okay. So I would look for a towel if you have one available. I'm going to switch over to Katie right now, but a towel in the bottom folded up would be a good idea. Okay.
Mason, come here. Come here. Good job. Good boy.
Hooray. Okay, so how are we doing with this one, Katie?
Sit.
Wonderful.
Nope, sit. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Out of the box.
Very good. All right.
Sit. Yeah.
Good. So Katie, a tip for you for the tricks title testing. So one of the items, so get in a box and sit in the box are two separate items. So if it were me,
Mhm.
Oh, and he's having, oh good, he's having trouble because he entered from the long end instead of the short end.
Yeah.
If it were me, I would reward for getting into the box. Then I would ask for a sit and reward again. So that they don't automatically, like my dog, I wasn't worried about a tricks title here. And so he's just started automatically sitting. That's because I wasn't rewarding every time for getting into the box before asking for a sit.
Okay.
So.
In the box.
Good. Click and treat, or yes and treat. Good. And I love that you backed the treat up so he got back in. And then sit and yes and treat.
Out of the box.
Let's try that one more time.
Out of the box.
And remember, he may want to enter from the long edge, from the short edge, sorry.
Come on. Yeah.
Good.
Sit. Yeah.
Very good. Okay. That's going fantastically, Katie.
Come on. Okay. In the box. Sit. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Beautiful. No, you're fine.
In the box.
I just don't want for him to automatically think I need to sit, so that it looks like one trick instead of he knows to get in the box, and then he knows sit and can do it in the box as well.
Sit. Yes.
Good.
Oh, boy.
Beautiful. Okay. So I do see, so that's going fantastic, Katie. I would keep up the good work with that. I do see that Sharon's suitcase seems to be a pretty good size for Kismet. So I would love to just show Sharon, if you're okay with it, like have everyone look at your video to see what that looks like. So for Sharon.
It took some work to find the right size box.
Yeah.
I kept using things that were too small. All right, can you see the suitcase?
Yes, we can see the suitcase, yeah.
And you can see
Good.
him running to get it.
Yeah, so Kismet's got plenty of room around his legs and behind his butt to sit easily there. My box where you saw my dog's tail had to be up out of the box. That is smaller than I would ideally want. That's just what I had on hand, and he was able to do it. But if your dog's having a tough time, so with Merlin, you may want to work with a larger box for a little bit, because that is like pretty much the exact size of what his body is. Yeah. So thank you, Sharon, for letting me ask everyone.
This is the biggest suitcase we own.
Oh, yes, that's fine. So what you could do, Tamir, is to wait until you have a cardboard box that is large enough, or you could even like try to make your own cardboard box by duct taping together some smaller parts, just so he can get used to getting all 4 feet in, because that'll be fine eventually, I believe, but it may be a little small if he's having trouble figuring out putting his feet in. We can keep working at it with that one, but I think a little bit of a larger box to begin with would be helpful.
Yes.
Yay.
I put a mat inside.
Yes, yeah, so that seems like it's helping a little bit there. Okay, so next I'm gonna have us work on our bow again. So how is bow going for everyone?
Okay.
Tamir, how are we doing with bow?
I actually forgot to do it.
Oh, that's okay, that's all right.
I'm going to try right now.
That's okay, I'm gonna demonstrate one more time.
Oh, all right, 1 second, baby.
All right, so for bow, let me get my dog to stand. Hi. Oh goodness, it just decided his coat. Can you touch? Yeah, good boy. Okay, so for bow, what we want here is we are looking slowly for getting our dog to do that play bow behavior that you probably see them do while they are playing. But I'm looking at first just for some bend in the elbows. This is one that Hitch is actually not super fond of. Good. So I'm bending his back elbow, which you couldn't see as much, bent a little bit. And so I'm clicking for that. This is one we haven't worked on quite as much, but I want to look for elbow bending. And then I'm tossing the treat a little forwards of his face. So he's having a tough time right now. We played with the flirt pole for a while before we had class today, so I think I tired him out a little bit too much there. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do actually is, we're gonna take Hitch's favorite little piggy toy here, and I'm gonna show you where I want to run that treat. So if this is your dog's nose, Hitch has done a good job getting it. If this is your dog's nose, I want you to try to even go right underneath their chin. So obviously, I'm going to move. Hi, can you sit, please? Thank you. We'll get it. So it's going to try to move like right below their chin, and I aim for between their front legs, ending on the floor behind them eventually, like behind where their front legs would be. Because once they fold into that bow, their front paws are going to be forward of where their head is for most of them. So we'll try that one more time again with Hitch, see if he's too tired or not here. But I'm trying to move really close to his body, and I'm going to take that little elbow bend that he had. So like I said, we haven't worked on this one quite as much with Hitch. I'm going to see how y'all are doing and coach you through it.
Merlin, stand. Yes.
So take a look at Merlin and Tamir first.
Yay! You did it well.
Oh, good. That's fantastic. That's good.
What was this? Can you see?
I can't quite see his body enough there. Yeah, Trix is tricky with moving around the props, huh?
I know. Okay.
There we go. And touch is a great way to move your dog around in that.
No, don't let us leave there. Here.
There we go. Very good.
I'm so excited it's about to click.
That's great, Tamir. Now I'm going to have you do that. I'm going to switch over and check in on Katie and Grayson, but I'm going to have you do that 2 more times with a treat in your hand, and then switch immediately to a fake treat hand and see if you can get him to do, so just like we did with the spin, where you made the same hand shape and movement. See if you can get him after a couple more with a treat to do it without a treat in your hand, but give a treat afterwards.
Got it.
Okay? All right, great. So 2 more times with that, and then try with the fake treat hand. And I'm going to go and look at Katie and Grayson. Okay. Hello.
Oh, Grayson, find it. This is not his strength. So he does
That's
it all
okay.
the
As
time.
you can see, this isn't quite my dog's thing either. And
All the time, like, but he does it all the time, like, and I try to like be like, nice bow, like if he's just like in the apartment, like,
yeah,
so usually
yeah,
that's before I put his leash on.
yeah.
And he'll just go and I'm like, oh, such a good bow, and I'm like, maybe he'll just recognize the word.
Yeah, if he does it, so that's an interesting point. So I usually don't, if you want to pause for a moment with him, I usually don't recommend putting like praise and then the cue one after the other once they've done it on their own, because Katie, have you ever tried to learn a different language?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
I cannot pass language.
Or do you ever, when you're listening to song lyrics that are really fast, even though you know English, have a hard time understanding what they're saying until you look up the lyrics?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think at best, even if our dogs understood English and grammar, because it is not their native language, it's kind of like when somebody is speaking too fast. So when we learn new languages, a lot of times if someone says, 2 words together that we know, but they say them back to back, we still don't recognize them as the 2 separate words we know. And same with music lyrics that are going really fast, even if we know English and it's in English. So the other thing is that I don't think they tend to connect that cue when it comes after what they've done, after good. Right? So what I would do instead is probably, I think the praising it is great. I don't think it's going to help too much. I mean, it's probably not hurting a lot, but I don't think it's going to help too much in him understanding what bow means as a cue.
Yeah.
But if you are able to at times of day when he's likely to do that, so like if he does like stretches like that a lot in the evening or in the morning, try to have some treats and a clicker with you when it's a time when he's likely to do it. Then you can say bow as he does the behavior. So we would call that capturing.
Okay.
Then click and treat once he's hit the ground with his elbows or, hit his lowest point. Does that make sense?
Makes complete sense.
Yeah. So what we're doing is we're just telling them what it's called as they do it so that it builds up value behind that word being paired with that action. And it's not going to take the place of training using other methods in a lot of cases, but it's going to help strengthen that as a behavior you might want and reward.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I would love to watch the luring one more time.
Can you see him? Can you see him? Yes, good boy.
Yes, yeah. So we'll want to do it like, we'll want to keep working at it. Good.
Yeah.
I think one thing we might want to do differently, Katie, good, is he's doing good with bending his elbows. I might keep the angle moving towards a little further back on the floor instead of, like, we don't want it to be moving, if this is his body, instead of moving like this towards the floor, try to move like that towards the floor. Okay. And just change it a little at a time.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. It looked like he had a good deep, at least with one of his legs there, his right leg.
Okay, one leg went.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, great. So that's good progress. Okay. Perfect.
I appreciate it.
All right. And Sharon, are things going well with Kismet with this? Fantastic. Okay. So I'm next. Okay, great. So next, I want to go back over laying on their side or rolling over if we've mastered laying on their side, okay? So again, what we want to do with that, it's got a little too much flirt pole exercise today, it seems. If you've never heard of those, you should look into them. They're a really good way to exercise your dogs without having to run around a bunch yourself. But I'm going to try to demo with him. If he's a little too tired, we'll switch to the pig again. But what I'm going to do actually is get him to, oh good, okay. So what I was looking at, he had like frog legs, like his legs were splayed out like that behind him. So I wanted to get him where he didn't have his legs splayed out because we haven't worked from that position before. I'm also going to make sure that any obstructions are gone from behind him. So his pig was in the way and I don't want him not doing it because he hit that. So again, what we want to do is move our treat down the side of their body and then in an arc over their back. If I wanted to lay down, I then just stuck the treat on the ground right there. So again, find it. Yeah, there you go. My dog is lying down. I have a treat. I move it down the side of their back, over, and then click and give a treat once they're on their side like that. I would ideally click and then hand the treat. Okay, so once your dog is doing really well, you can do it with no treat in your hand, but a fake treat hand, and then click and treat. Okay, were you all able to see that when I leaned over my dog? Yes, okay. All right, and how many of you are looking to teach roll over because your dog is mastered laying on their side? Yeah, okay. So if I'm gonna really quick, I'm gonna have everyone else who is still working on lay on your side, which I've had some clients call it like play dead and do a bang sound. But I've also had clients call it nap time, which I thought was very cute. So what I'm gonna do, once my dog is on their side like that, good, I'm gonna take the treat, and this is one Hitch hasn't worked on much. I'm going to sort of try to get them on their back as much as I can, but then I'm gonna take the treat and roll it. Good. For most dogs, so Hitch's body shape is a little more bulky. So it's a little different from some dogs who have like, who are just a little more narrow in general. But for some dogs who are more narrow, what I would do is I slide it down their sternum and then under their armpit. Hitch does well with the cabinets in the way, but lay down. Good boy. So Hitch does well with just, it goes over his back instead of bringing it to the floor. It goes over his belly and back again, all the way to the other side, and then I drop it for him. Okay. All right, so that's funny. We've only done that 2 or 3 times. All of a sudden that time he was like, I've got it. Okay, so I'm gonna check in on everyone again. So I'm gonna go to, Tamir and Merlin again first, because I see that Grayson's doing all right.
Can you see him?
So I'm trying to get,
Can you see me? Can you see him?
Hang on just a second.
Sure.
There we go. I was having a little trouble getting it to pin your video. So let's see it one more time.
Merlin, come. Come. Come on. Merlin.
And one thing that might be, has he been doing it well?
I think, yeah, I'm getting tired.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, if he was doing well, I believe you. Fantastic work. Nice job.
It's like he's picking up my fatigue.
Yeah, don't worry about it. You can hang out and relax and just watch for now. But my one thing that I would change right there, it looked like he may be having trouble because he was so close to the bookcase. So it was hard for him to flip his legs out to the side. So if he had laid with his legs like out to the side, they would have hit the bookcase. So he might have been hesitant because he was so close to it. I know it's tough to get them in the video and not against things, but if you want to take a break, that's fine.
No, I'm okay now.
Okay.
I think.
Oh. Oh, he might be tired out for today.
He did it. He did it. He did
I believe
it into a rollover.
I'm sure it was beautiful. I was just having a little technical issue with getting your video to pin. So I believe you. I'm sure that it was fantastic and glorious. And don't worry about it if he's tired out right now. Oh.
Yes.
There we go.
Okay, he did it.
Beautiful. So I would end it there so that he's ending on a good note. And you can watch for any other things that, might be good tips in the future if you run into the same issues as someone else. So I'm going to switch over to Katie, but nice job with Merlin. Okay, so I'm with Katie and Grayson right now.
Can you see, when I look at my screen, is this full of like glare from the windows?
I can see him well enough, yeah.
Yeah. I do that one. Oh yeah, good.
Here we go. So he's having a little more trouble with the rollover part.
Well, the way he laid down, I was sitting directly in front of him. Normally I'm on the side. And I was like, oh, I'll see if it works.
Yeah, totally. One way to get them in a position that works is to use touch.
Well, yeah.
Good.
Come on. Yes, good boy.
Hooray. And so that moment when he flopped over, that's when I would say yes, and then drop the treat for him. That was looking good. In the future, like especially during the testing, if he gets into the wrong position, you can always ask him for a touch or a couple of touches so that you can get him in the right position to start. For the novice tricks title, you are allowed to use treats and use treats as lures if necessary. So don't worry too much about using treats for touch.
It's just really sick. Go eat that.
Yeah, I was about to suggest a little break for him here. He's been working hard. Okay. And great. Thank you, Katie. That's looking fantastic. And Sharon, so I know that Kismet being a more leaner, streamlined dog than Hitch, we used the method where you go down along their sternum. Would you mind demoing that because it didn't show Hitch how that might work?
Although I actually have now switched to the other one. Hey, he's getting rowdy now. He's just.
Oh yeah, if he's done, that's okay.
Let's see if he's got any left in him. He does love to roll over on his back. Kismet, down. Good boy, thank you. All right, let's see. I have to remember which.
I think you were doing down his right side, yeah.
So I went down this way, and then see now he's doing it with the sideways one.
Yeah.
Demo the other one. So when he's already on his side, I take the treat, I hold it to his nose. I have to get between his front paws. Can you see?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we can see. Yeah.
And then he just but he uses my arm.
Yeah, he uses your arm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you do it without using my arm? I don't know.
But I do find, oh, good.
There we go.
Good. So shepherds, I would say, to me, shepherds are one of the dog breeds that I've had better luck moving in between their legs instead of just over their back like I did with Hitch. So when you rewatch this later, the method that Sharon just showed for getting a rollover, that might work better for Merlin if the going right over the back isn't working, okay? So I just thank you, Sharon, for showing that. I just, with a dog who follows it, I wanted someone to be able to look at it later. Okay, and for our other poodle person in class who's gonna watch this. Okay. All right,
Alex,
so, yes,
Alex, I think
Tamir.
that because of the camera where it is,
Mm-hmm.
the table
Mm-hmm.
and the bookshelf is too narrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I should try it in another room where there isn't this setup, and then see if actually I can do it, because here there's just no place to keep rolling.
Sure. Yeah. So we actually only have about 5 minutes left of class. So I wouldn't want you to miss out on.
No, I'm not going to. But at home. I mean, at home.
Yes. Yeah. I think having more space is a great idea. Yeah. So you saw even in my setup where I picked my, largest space in my house here, I had to move my dog at one point because he just happened to get too close to the bookshelf. So I did a find it or touch, and I got him to get up and we tried again. Touch, just touch to your hand is a really great way, especially with a large dog, to just move them small amounts of space when you need them to adjust their bodies just a little bit. Okay, so for the tricks testing, I did in the last bit of class want to talk everyone through that a little bit. So I'm going to have I'm going to send out that list to everyone along with a document that says which tasks we've worked on in class. You should have, even if you haven't mastered a couple of those, we have enough that you could, if your dog had trouble with, bow, for instance, you could substitute with another one. But for that test, basically for the novice tricks title, if your dog, does anyone's dog have a canine good citizen?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So Tamir, actually, having the canine good citizen, that counts for 5 of the tricks. So you only have to do 5 because some of the things in the canine good citizen could count as tricks, and also they show that you've done more extensive training beyond just tricks training. So just for the novice tricks title, the canine good citizen gives you only have to do half the amount of tricks, which is nice and good to know. When you do this testing, you can use lures. So that's like in class when with your dog's face, you're using a treat like a magnet. You can use a lure if you need to. You can also treat after each of these behaviors. You don't have to, like with the canine good citizen, you're not allowed to give treats in between. For the novice tricks title, you can give treats in between, okay? So you can use a treat as a lure and you can treat them as much as you want in between activities. All right, so don't worry about that part. They are now allowing for us to do all of the things online, which I bet you figured since we were offering it through the class, but all of them can be remote. And there are 2 of the items, when I send you this list, there are two spaces that say handler's choice. So what that means is a couple of the tricks that we taught are not on the list. Like I believe one of the ones is read a sign. They're not on the official list, but you can use them for the tricks title. They're one of your free handler choice tricks items. So that just means it doesn't have to be something on the list. You came up with 2 behaviors or 1 behavior that you wanted to do that are a trick but aren't included on their list, okay? So I'm gonna send everybody that tricks title list of things that you can use for your tricks. If you have a canine good citizen, you need to do 5. If you don't have a canine good citizen certificate, you need to do 10, but you can use treats and lures, unlike in your canine good citizen testing if you've looked at that or done it, okay? So the rules are a little more relaxed when it comes to treats. Does anybody have questions about
Yes, I
the
do.
test?
I do.
Yes.
And that is that when we were doing the bow, the first few times he got it, and then he started walking backwards as I went with the treat under. And so, no.
With Merlin, so right now, my first thought is that he may have been getting tired, because an hour is a really long time to work. And even if his stitches are healed, it may still be a little uncomfortable for him to be stretching his underside that way. And he may be getting tired more often. You know, whenever we've hurt ourselves, whenever we've gone through surgery, if you ever have, even if things have technically healed over, your body's still healing. So you're getting tired a little more easily.
I'm in that place right now.
Yeah. So I would cut him a little bit of slack here, but the good news is, if that isn't working out, we can always try another trick for the Canine Good Citizen. For the Tricks Novice title, if that's the case right then. If he's having a lot of trouble with stuff, especially if you're doing it next week, I would focus on the stuff. Yeah, I would focus on the stuff that he seems to have an easier time with right now, just because I don't want to stress his body with something that both seems like it's stretching out his underside a little, and he's having difficulty with, because I don't want to stress any of his surgical sites or anything. Sharon, did you have a comment, or are you just seeing me? Yes, Sharon has a comment.
Can I just show off Kismet's turning on the light behavior?
Oh, yes, you can. Yes.
I'm so excited about it. Okay.
Please.
All right. We'll see if he actually does it now. Okay. Hey, buddy, you got a light? Whoopsie. Oh, try again. You got a light? Oh, it's not lighting. Yeah. Kismet, you got a light? Oh,
that seems like it's a tough one to push.
He was getting it reliably before, of course, but you got a light?
Of course.
Oh.
Aww.
You got a light? All right. Well, back to the drawing board.
It's the end
It
of
was
class.
working before.
You should send us all a video to update us on that.
I will.
And if anyone ever comes up with a way to make the tops of those things rougher while it's still see-through, I've thought about
He did it.
Oh, good. Oh, it's on.
When I stopped talking.
Yes. I personally thought about putting some glittery nail polish on them so that they're not as slippery, because it would show through. But if anyone has any ideas for it, let me know.
It's Alex.
Where do you get those things?
You can get them online or at hardware stores. Often grocery stores will even have them in stock.
What do you call them? Got a light?
It's a touch light.
What?
It's a touch light.
Yes, touch light is usually what they're called. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
But Alex,
yes.
if you took like, not that you would find in the hardware store, but like sandpaper that just makes it like very thin
Oh, yeah. Fine.
so it doesn't scratch it.
Scratch it. That is, I have so much sandpaper. I'm a woodworker and I've never thought of that. So thank you. That's a brilliant idea. So you could get, I wouldn't do it really hard, but if you get some sandpaper and sort of scratch it over the surface of the light in a few different directions a little, then that should roughen the surface just enough so their paws don't slide off of it as easily. So
Like you do with high heels.
for that. Yeah.
Like you take them
Yeah. Great. Thanks for that idea. Yeah. I don't know why my mind went to glitter nail polish, but it was see-through, Okay. So thank you everybody for such a great tricks class. We are offering a tricks 2 class later in May. Oh shoot, I accidentally closed my window that says the exact date of that class, but I will include it in the email for everybody so that you know when it is. I would love to have any of you back for that. And we are teaching a bunch of fun new tricks in addition to some will build off of what we've done in this class as well. Okay. All right. So,
And Alex, quick question.
Mm-hmm.
When you do the test, I feel like I saw this somewhere, maybe you said it. Like it says fetch. I don't use fetch. I use get it. Like that's okay. You can change whatever. It's about the task, not the command.
About the task, not the command. Correct. Yes. Thank you for asking. Yeah. You don't have to call it whatever they've called it on the tricks list. It's just about what the task is. Okay, great question. Thank you. Okay, so, and Sharon, did you have something to add to there?
It's the 26th. It starts the 26th.
Great. Thank you for checking that.
So there's a week
closed the
off.
window somehow. Yes.
Yeah, there's
Great.
a week off from the last one, and then it starts up again, same night, same time.
Okay, perfect. So same night, same time, starting on the 26th. Thank you, Sharon, for looking that up right now. I appreciate it. Okay, so I would love to have you all in tricks too, hopefully in the future. I will email you that that list, and what you want to do for your homework to prepare is to look through the list and to just look through all of our other homeworks, because at this point today was a review. We are just looking back at what we've done through all of our other homework sheets. Those activities are all detailed in those homeworks, and what you want to work on most will depend on which tricks you want to use for your tricks title if you're testing. Okay? All right. Well, it was a pleasure to have you all in class. I hope you have a great night. Feel free to email me if you're having questions about testing or anything. And I hope to see you again in the future.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very
Goodbye.
much. Bye-bye. Bye, Sharon.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye, both of you.
Bye.
Bye, Katie.
Bye.